Oh hey, it's Lisa. I thought that I would start doing some videos to kind of mix it up on the blog. So I got in my little video spot where the light doesn't shine too much on my glasses. Um, and I'm not like scrunching. Oh God, now I'm scrunching. I probably shouldn't do videos, maybe. I don't know. But I'm a writer because one, I love writing, and two, because then uh, right, this. Because then, if I say something dumb or weird, too weird, I mean, I know I say weird things, but if I say something too weird, then I can just, go back and delete. And then you're also not watching me do funny little hand motions. Or if I've used too much profanity, then I can be like, ugh, so many fucks. I should delete a fuck. I should delete 5 fucks. If I'm going to delete all the fucks. And then I say all the fucks on video. So here I am with all these fucks and weird little hand motions. But if you're watching this, you know me and you know this. I'm going to start with that introduction with a lot of profanity, which would have really horrified my father, and I would have gotten an email saying, that people who have a really good vocabulary don't need to resort to profanity, and I'm very well educated and I'm bright. So I could certainly find other words. And by the way, here's a little bit grammatical mistake that I made as well that he's correcting. I would have gotten an email like that from him if he were still alive. But if he were still alive, I wouldn't be specifically talking about this, and I wouldn't be participating in This Is My Brave, which I am on Sunday. And it's a weird weekend for me because today, 6 years ago, today on the 15th of May, which was also a Friday, because maybe that's how it works in the calendar, right? Because I don't even know with the 31 days and the 28 and then the leap year. But anyway, 6 years ago on this very day, my father walked out of their house, and then none of us ever saw him alive again. And actually, even at the morgue, they wouldn't let my mother and Nick see him because he had hanged himself and he looked too bad. And they'd had terrible experiences with family members freaking out. But I get on so many tangents. See, if I were writing, I could delete my tangent or revise it, but here I am. I'm sorry. Here I am with all my tangents and my little hand flaps, saying that I'm starting to forgive myself is where I've gotten 6 years and so much work later. And the fact that This Is My Brave is this weekend, and that I'll be talking about my dad and mental illness and the impact of mental illness on my life it's a really interesting coincidence, and it feels very intense for me. But it's been a good journey for me getting there, because even just working up to my audition, I was talking to my friend Lee, and I was talking to her about my insecurities about my audition piece and not being sure quite what to say. And she went through it with me, and then she said, you cannot stand up there and tell your dad's story to a group of people who've potentially been in his position. And you have your own story, but this is not your story. This is a chronology of your dad's suicide attempts. It's talking about his impact on you, but it's not your story, and you have to sort out your story. Oh, and there's Nick's fucking clock. Sorry for another fuck. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been very, very healing for me. I didn't realize, when you lose somebody to suicide, you have a lot of anger and you have a lot of guilt. And you need to, I think that I understood that I needed to forgive my dad for what felt like abandoning us. But what I didn't understand was that I needed to forgive myself for not saving him. And that might make you laugh or roll your eyes because, duh. But that was a huge revelation for me. And I've worked through so many things in the last 6 years, and I've also thought so much and written so much about grief, and come to understand how it's not just for me that grief is not linear, and it's not just for me that grief seems to go on and on and on. And it's not even abnormal for grief to hit you out of nowhere years later, or just flatten you in a moment that it doesn't seem like it should. And I've learned that there really aren't shoulds. Everybody has their own process and their own, even if you feel like you're on a timeline and you feel like it's gotten so much better, and for me it's gotten so much better, but I can still, sit down and cry about it. But I think that my point is that you have to sort out how to forgive yourself for whatever it is. You couldn't, you can do your best, but you can't watch somebody every single minute. When my mother called me 6 years ago, she called me at noon, and she'd gotten up in the morning and then gone back to sleep. And she called me at noon to say that Dad was gone. And he'd only been out of the hospital a couple weeks. And, I knew. I didn't want to know. But, he was so frail from his prior attempt. And if he was gone, he was gone. And I couldn't be watching him. My mother couldn't be watching him. I wanted to microchip him, but you can't do that. Although I really did want to. Anyway, before I go on too long, I just want to say I'm going to start doing videos, maybe weekly, although that might be a little bit too bold because, maybe I should stick to writing. I don't know. But I'd like to throw in a video here and there. So let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.